Hello and good morning. Hope everyone is keeping well. This is more just a bit of an update video than anything else, to let you know what's been happening up here. We've been doing a few different bits and pieces, but nothing that's particularly been enough to make a single video. So this is a bit of a montage of bits and pieces that I've been doing over the past few weeks, starting off with the boring stuff. So me and my wife, we've got two Hyundais, an i30 and a Tucson, or a Tucson, however you want to pronounce it. They're coming up from MOT, and for the last 2 years on the bounce with the i30, I've been having advisories against lower suspension arms and rear brake shoes, pads, even rear brake pads. So I finally pulled my finger out the other weekend and actually replaced the bottom suspension arms. It was actually quite a pleasant job. I've not really come across anything particularly awkward in those Hyundais, so I'm quite happy with it. So I did that one weekend. I've got the brake shoes. I've not fitted them yet, but I've got the brake pads, even the brake pads. The Tucson, I had to do an ABS sensor on that. Last year, about 14 months ago, it started periodically coming up with ABS fault. I'm not going to lie, when I put it in for its last MOT, I just cleared the fault as I drove into the MOT station, and fortunately it stayed off long enough for them to MOT it. So I thought, actually, I'll best actually do something about that this year. So I did actually replace the sensor. The only thing is, and it seems to be the way of quite a lot of modern vehicles now, you have to dismantle the entire hub assembly, and then the sensor is like a cap that sits on the very back of the hub. It's only a two-wheel drive car, it's not four-wheel drive. That's one of the reasons I've been putting it off. But again, actually, it turned out to be a really pleasant job. It was, I think it was £6 or something I paid for a replacement sensor, and I did that in maybe an hour, I think it took me, maybe. But again, it was a very pleasant job. Even on the i30, I think it only took me maybe an hour and a half to do both suspension arms. So I was quite happy with that. Circling back to something slightly more interesting. So up here where the lorry's based, the Hilux, my old man's farm, as it were, he's decided that he wants a phone line installed. So of course, we want to do it ourselves. So we borrowed a digger from Brigger and Wormshill Light Railway, borrowed a plant trailer off my uncle, and so we've been doing that for the last 3 weeks on and off. It's quite a long trench. So my dad's done most of the digging, I've done just a little bit, but I got sidetracked to this plant trailer. Nothing against my uncle by any means, but this plant trailer, when I picked up the plant trailer, I realised that actually only the two rear side lights work, and one of them had a smashed lens. Fortunately, we moved under the cover of darkness and very thick fog, so no one really clocked it, not even a copper that was waiting to come out of the junction. So whilst my dad was digging the trench, I spent most of the time rewiring this plant trailer. Well, I say rewiring, repairing the wiring for this plant trailer. Fortunately, the only thing I had to buy for it was an electrical coupling down by the bulkhead, as it were. That's £4.50 from Halfords. Everything else I managed to repair. The only other thing I had to change was a front marker light. But all I did there was I went to the far end of the barn where I keep all my spares, or aka all my shit. And on the old NG cab I've got laid in the corner, I've managed to remove one of the top markers out of the cab, cleaned it up, put a 12-volt bulb in it, and then fitted that to his trailer. It actually worked out quite nicely. So I got all the electrics working. Fortunately for the smashed rear lens, I did have one in stock for a different trailer, so I was able just to fit that. and then it suddenly dawned on me that every single wheel bearing was absolutely knackered. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of trailers, the wheel bearings are a little bit ropey at the best of times, but this was something else. So I ended up ordering a set of wheel bearings and a couple of complete wheels and tyres, because a couple of them turned out to be falling to pieces on the inside. So I changed the bearings. Got mega lucky really, because the bearings were that knackered they actually spun inside the housing of the drum. So normally when you fit wheel bearings, you usually clean it all up, put a drop of oil in to help it go in. No, I did completely the opposite. I put it in the parts wash at work so it'd get a bit rusty. Then I put a bit of thread lock on the on the outside. Fortunately there were still bearings. Put a bit of thread lock on the outside of the bearings before I knocked them in, because it was just where they'd spun, you went to knock them in normally and they just sort of want to fall in, which you don't want. You want them to be tight. 3 out of the 4 took quite nicely. One of them I need to revisit, because it's still, once it was fitted and you gave it a shake, it was still a little bit play on the bearing. That was actually inside the drum housing, not the bearing itself, or on the spigot. Well, it wouldn't be on the spigot because of the lock nut. But so I did all that, managed to get that all back together just in time to take the digger back, because unfortunately Bregger and Worms Hill Railway found that they've got a water leak at the end of their car park, so they needed the digger back. So fortunately I managed to get the trailer back together in time. We got the trench dug in time, so I was able to get the digger loaded and get it taken back. As for everything else, I've not forgotten about the Hilux. That's still in the corner, waiting for me to circle back to it. But I've been doing other stuff lately. The SK, I do need to do some bits to the SK, because it's going to be coming out of hibernation soon. So I do need to do a few little bits and pieces, just to keep my OCD happy more than anything else. But yeah, that's probably about it really. I say sorry I've not had a video out again for quite some time. I even had my friend Barry, who seems to enjoy watching my videos, text me saying, well, when's the next one coming? So it's a bit of a montage, this one, but I'll try to, now I've gotten all the silly little bits and pieces out of the way, I'll try and get dug back into something a bit more interesting. But yeah, I'm afraid that's about it for this. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you're all keeping well, and I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Say hello.
Hello. Meet Mr. Foxy.